Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and I'm going to be diving into a game that I played, a series of games I should say, that was part of the Team R2's World Cup tournament. It's an unofficial tournament with nothing on the line other than pride, but definitely some very high level gameplay and tournament strategy going on with that. So my game's here against Trynet, who's a popular streamer. I'm sure many of you know him. He plays a lot of Gwent. And he's part of Team USA in this cup. I'm part of Team UK. Yeah, I won't spoil anything. I'm sure a lot of you haven't seen this already, so yeah, we're going to talk about the game, give some insight, some educational analysis kind of stuff into the deck building, the tournament decisions, the actual gameplay as well. This first episode is going to be a little bit scuffed, I think, a little bit janky, because I wasn't able to download the full gameplay, so I'm just using Lord Bushwick's Bush R's Twitch channel, his VOD of the tournament games, to view it myself. So it's gonna be a little bit scuffed, but bear with me. Hopefully the next one that I do, which will be my game versus Colomoan, so stay tuned for that. That will be a little bit more polished, I suppose. Anyway, with that said, enough introing. Let's just get into this and talk about what's going on. So as you can see here, talking about decks, so we were bringing 3 decks to the tournament with 1 ban allowed. You get rid of one of the opponent's decks and don't have to play against it. The first person to win with their 2 decks remaining is the winner of the series, so you play potentially 3 games in total, or 2 if you win both, and yes, that's what's going on. So what did I bring? Well, I brought Uprising, Jackpot, Death's Shadow. So basically Northern Realms, a kind of, I guess I'll pause here and we can just, look at it. I know the pause screen's a bit rubbish, but whatever. Bear with me. So yeah, I have an Uprising deck, which is really focused on countering other Uprising decks. It's sort of got a lot of engine value, things like Anna, Botchling, Reynard. Now bear in mind this was a week or so ago, so the meta's moved on a little bit, and the decks I'll be bringing now to the tournament are a bit different to this. But at the time, the tournament strategy was to kind of beat other NR players playing Draug. So you run cards like Lambert to help do that. Avalak as well. You can use Rain to disrupt the buffs on their units and make it really hard for them to get Scytheman, Visigoth value, and also very hard to get humans for the Draug. So basically a control, but with some engines, Northern Realms deck here. Now I didn't actually get to play this deck because he banned it. He presumed that this deck was very strong against his lineup, so he decided not to want to play against that. Instead, he allowed my Jackpot to be played and my Death Shadow. So Jackpot, I wasn't playing Hidden Cache, mostly just because I didn't want to be too mainstream in the first series, and I'd been playing more with Jackpot than Hidden Cache recently. And I think, at the time I thought they were very similar in power level. Realistically, Hidden Cache is better. But Jackpot, it is quite decent, and I wasn't running Passiflora here because I was scared of the opponent playing Bomb Heaver. The thought process is, if the opponent doesn't ban your Syndicate, that means they're probably playing Bomb Heavers in their decks because they want to play against the Syndicate, which usually has a scenario in it. So I'm not running this scenario. That's quite good for me in this series, I think, as we'll come to see, because Trynet did play Bomb Heavers in every one of his decks. So I don't have any artifacts. His Bomb Heavers are bad. We can look at his decks in a sec, but yeah, this is a bit of a kind of weird Syndicate. Again, we've got the Lambert to be beating NR players, people with Draug. You can hit all the Caravan Vanguards, you can disrupt the buffs on the Revenants and stuff. So Lambert's really helpful in these matchups. And other than that, a lot of engines again. So kind of an engine, but also dealing with opponents' NR decks. That's kind of the attempted lineup here from myself. So we have the Gnome Ludovicus, which is kind of an engine. He gains coins after a few turns for you. We've got Dog, which buffs every turn, of course. Imk gets you coins every turn. So these cards that get long-term value. And we're going to try to use those to abuse the opponent and get a long round value from that, or at least get good value from them because they don't have the removal to deal with them, if that makes sense. And yeah, no Passiflora in my Syndicate, as I said. Bit of a strange list. Also, don't play Bincy, and the reason for that is you usually want to Jackpot with Soul as your play. because Soul is really bonkers. You get the 9 coins, you go crazy. In the same way that you would in Hidden Cash, you can do that with Jackpot. And if you're tying the leader to Bincy, it just makes a lot of plays very awkward. You can't protect engines with your leader because Bincy requires you really to be on 0 coins when you leader to get the full value. There's a few just problems with running it in Jackpot. It's probably better in Hidden Cash where you can throw the Bincy out in any of the rounds and not it being tied to your leader, if that makes sense. Anyway, finally I had a Kikimore Queen deck with the Death Shadow, which is the deck pretty much that I had on my YouTube channel. With one exception, I have Cave Troll instead of Caretaker, and that's a pretty big deal. And the reason for that is Caretaker's not so good when you aren't having to deal with Syndicate and all the poisons that they bring. And this was also at a point in the meta when Nilfgaard Poison wasn't that popular, so I didn't really expect to be playing against much poison. The Caretaker therefore is not as good in this deck, and I decided to run Cave Troll because it's quite good against Northern Realms, who often won't have a Purify, or they won't have 2 Purifies, and you can play Cave Troll and then renew it to get another Cave Troll, and that really makes their life quite difficult, makes it difficult for Northern Realms, and even other factions which maybe don't have a Purify. Makes it difficult for them to get through to your eggs, get through to your insectoids, and allows you to buff those up with the Kikimore Queen more easily. Also just protects your Kikimore Queens. So otherwise it's a bit awkward. If you're expecting Purifies, it can take up an additional space on your rows and stuff, which is annoying, but in this kind of tournament format, where I was banning Syndicate because I felt it was the strongest deck, I think Cave Troll made a lot of sense. So with Mr. Trynet's decks, let's go to those if we can here. So he did bring Northern Realms as we kind of expected him to. He does have a Draug version, and of course, just kind of standard Draug at this point in the meta. Even now people are still playing stuff like this. He had a Hidden Cash deck, which was a bit atypical like mine. Doesn't have Passiflora, has the Siggy and the Tin Boy instead, so kind of a similar deal. I still decided to ban it, even though, I maybe could have let that one through. Since it doesn't have Passiflora, it's a bit weaker overall. But yeah, still Syndicate's very scary, and didn't want to have to deal with that. And his final deck was a quite interesting sort of second wind deck, bit of a hybrid Gideoneth and Wild Boar lists, which I wasn't really sure how good it was because I hadn't really played against it before. And it's, using a lot of engines, priests and Drakars, and yeah, all that good stuff. I figured I could probably beat that deck with the remaining 2 that I had, Kikimore and my Northern Realms. I figured Northern Realms would probably be quite good against it because I could kill some of the engines with my removal and just bleed and hopefully get a win that way. But in reality, this was probably the strongest of his 2 decks, and this was the weak point, the Uprising, which was what I was kind of targeting. As you can see, he had Bomb Heavers to target Syndicate, so he didn't ban my Syndicate, he banned my Northern Realms instead, but I didn't have Passiflora, so Bomb Heavers weren't going to find value. So that's kind of the set the stage for this match. So let's just jump into the games, shall we? And I can give some commentary on what was going on, what I was thinking, probably what Trynet was thinking, and all that good stuff. So I guess we should start from the beginning. That would make the most sense. Okay, so alright, I guess we can just go from here. So round 1, game 1, I'm Kikimore Queen. He is the Skellige deck that we saw. So I'm on blue coin, and that means I really want to win round 1, really want to push. Of course, as you often do with Kiki, if I do lose this round, then I'm in a really bad spot and probably can just lose if he pushes me in round 2, because my leader is going to be very awkward to play, and he can always have leader value up on me in round 3. So that's kind of the typical thing to be going on with Kikimore. And now I wanted to bring this on blue because it has more push potential. It can more reliably win round 1. And Trynet knows this fact. He knows that I need to win the round, so he's going to put up a lot of pressure, a lot of resistance to me, winning it. And yeah, the first couple of plays here, you can see we're both, moving towards that game plan. Now, I'm starting with the lava. I'm getting my engines on the board, thriving up. My objective here is, just try to push, get that engine value, and at least get out of here if I can without losing my card. Now that the Ceres has come down for huge points. So Trynet's thinking, hey, I've got to really push here, and maybe even I can win on even by slamming down tempo with Ceres and then turning that into engines with maybe Priest and maybe a boat, a Drakkar that can be damaged by the Priest. So play's coming out a bit fast here. We've got the Beast from me. Not expecting it to survive. He has Decoction to kill that, so it does stop that engine from going crazy. Would have been really good for me if it had stuck around, but it did not. I'm going to go with the eggs now because I want to, play a few more weaker cards and hopefully get out that way. Maybe a warrior next to proc the eggs. I have it in my mind that I might need to commit my Caranthea this round because I have Renew in the deck to get it back later on. So I can afford to play one Caranthea in round 1 to win, or to push. So I might want to play warrior next and then get that Caranthea. And still got the lamp as well, so some hidden points, but this raiding fleet, or whatever that card is called, really painful. Going to do 4 bleeding and Longship pops out. So now my board is in a bit of trouble, and I'm just now realizing, oh wait, he has Wild Boar of the Sea. That's going to be a big problem. I don't really have too many ways to control his engines, so they're getting a lot of value. The Priest here is going a bit crazy, getting 1 point per turn. Now I do have my own engines in the Larvae and the Bruxa, but the longer this round goes, the more value Wild Boar will get. So I figure, I really need to get this Caranthea down. Now I did make an actual, a pretty big mistake in this round 1, which was I should have played my Larvae on the back row, because as you can see here, the way I've played it, I don't actually have enough space to do my Caranthea play. So that's pretty bad for me. I really wanted to be able to now play Caranthea onto Kikimor, protect my board a bit from the Wild Boar that he would have soon, hopefully be able to push a bit further in this round with that Kikimor Queen on the board. So I kind of messed up very much because the lamp takes up a spot. I should have played the Larvae and all the insects on the back, played the Brux on the front with the Djinn, and then I could have gone Caranthea on the back here. So this was a big mistake from me, and one of those little small positioning errors that can really cost you. So here I'm thinking, I don't really have much more I can do since I don't have space for the Caranthea. Obviously, if I play Caranthea, the Kikimor won't actually spawn on this front row. So I just have to go with Goliath and try to maybe escape the round. I know at this point I probably can't win. I did a pretty big fundamental misplay, in this round 1, and that's going to cost me quite heavily. Not going to be able to play the Caranthea to escape. So I think Trynet at this point is pretty happy with his position. He can go with that Wild Boar. He can go with, potentially just a Stunning Blow or something. But it looks like going to be Wild Boar now to kind of clean up these units, and I think that would get him ahead quite comfortably. And as you can see, my hand is now very awkward to play. I could commit the Caranthea now that everything dies. That is an option, but it's just going to be very, very weak, and he's going to be able to get ahead with his next play very easily, because I'm 5 points down, and the Caranthea play wouldn't trigger my Thrive units, so it wouldn't be worth very many points. It would be worth, like 7 or 8 points, something like that, which obviously he can overcome with another card. So at this point, I've kind of just managed to find a way to lose round 1 on even, which is very, very bad for me. The misplay, as I said, Larvae should have been on back, then I could have gone Warrior, filled up the row when I play the Caranthea, and allow myself an option out of the round and a lot of points. And I maybe could have pushed a bit further with the Kikimor on the board. So I really messed that up in this game. Big misplay on my part. And this was not the cleanest series by me by any means. If that wasn't recognizable at this point. So I just have to take the pass here. Kind of resigned to losing on even, and to be honest at this point, probably losing the game. Once Kikimor loses round 1, as we've said, it's very difficult for the deck to win. If you lose on even, it's even harder, and it tends to be almost impossible. So, we'll let the rest of the game play out, but at the end of the day, this is pretty set in stone at this point. In fact, I might skip a little bit, just so we can see what happens, because otherwise this video will be extremely long. So we got some mulligans, not too important. And I'm going to get pushed in round 2 by Trynet, of course. Going to try to develop Larvae, get some points on the board, get the Penitent out. I'm thinking, you know, maybe there's a chance he can find a lose condition. If he goes all in with his leader as well, and I can actually make up the points in this round 2 and survive and go to top decks, that's probably how I win, because I can have an Osrel maybe round 3 eating an Egon kind of thing, which could be very good for me. But in reality, if he does push and, you know, holds on to his leader for round 3, I'm in a hugely bad spot and stuff like that. He is going to go quite slow tempo here with just this priest, which doesn't do too much. And I mean, the boat combo with the priest is very scary. Sorry, the druid, I should say, is the card he played there. So you can see his hand is a bit awkward to push with because he's got a stunning blow which doesn't do too much. It's very good against the Kikimor Queen if I do play it, but I'm not really wanting to play that here if I can avoid it. And he's got that scenario which isn't very easy for him to proc, to activate. I don't believe he has enough druids in his graveyard to really enable that at the moment. So he might not want to play that this round, which gives me maybe a way to escape. Now, one thing to note is I did have Necromancy, which could have given me another set of larvae. I probably should have played that earlier in this round. I was a bit hoping I could just, you know, get out of the round without him committing his scenario. You know, I was hoping he'd take a pass and be willing to let me out if I did commit maybe my Caranthea combo or something like that. But really, at this point, I thought I'd already lost the game and I was not, you know, maybe not playing perfectly. But yeah, I probably should have gone for Necromancy now onto a Lava just to get a bit more thrive on the board, a bit more push potential. That might have forced a pass from him. I think I was calculating actually whether I could get ahead with Egon from Royal Decree if I did play the Necromancy, and I think I came to the conclusion that I couldn't because of that Priest and Boat Engine and Bleeding all on the board, and I figured that's just too much for me to overcome. So I decided to go with the Barghest instead, eat Penitent here. I think that's what I did anyway. And pull out the Pugo Boombreaker, big point swing. So this does get me ahead, it seems like, or, you know, maybe not due to the Priest. Yeah, it looks like I am just about ahead at this point. But yeah, that Necromancy is very dead in my hand. It's coming down very late if it is for a Larvae. It could be for Andriga eggs, that is an option. And, you know, maybe that's what I should have done. Also, another option there. I really needed to kind of establish a board here that Kikimor Queen from Caranthea would support, and I didn't have that. So here I should have really played a Necromancy. That would have been the ideal play, I think, to fill that front row up a bit more with Insectoids, either for Lava or for the egg. Now, the one problem is I couldn't actually eat my egg at this point because of the dominance, so yeah, I couldn't really have taken egg. The opponent had a bigger unit with priests, so my Barghest is deactivated, as you can see. So really here, I probably should have played the Lava. I think instead I do decide to go for the Egon. I figured at this point, you know, maybe he doesn't have Morkvarg. Maybe his hand is awkward and has stunning blows and stuff. So I kind of thought my win con here would be to play as if he didn't have a Morkvarg and just try to outpoint him. Get the dominance by playing the Egon here and eating it, and then that would allow me to maybe go with Necromancy onto the egg, although that's, you know, not too great of a play. Maybe do that plus a Renew. I'm also thinking I have a Renew as an option now onto the Egon to maybe get a lot of points and steam ahead here. And, you know, right now I'm feeling pretty good until I realise he has Morkvarg in hand. I was kind of banking on him not having that. Of course, the deck lists are open in this tournament, so we know, you know, we know what to expect from the opponent. You can play around certain cards and whatnot. But yeah, here the Morkvarg's very, very painful. Yes, my Renew onto Egon is quite good at this point, but my Kikimor Queen is really dead, and I don't really have much of a leader at this point since I didn't pull Caranthea with my hero ability. So really some fundamental mistakes with the Kikimor Queen deck here, this game, from myself. And Trynet did, you know, abuse those and punish those with the way he played and the, you know, the pushing that he did in round 1 and 2 here. So yeah, at this point I think I'm going to play the Necromancy. It's just very late to do that. Probably too late, since they're not really going to thrive. But I have to do it. I might have been fine in this round 2, or I might have survived if I had played an earlier necromancy onto lava. But I got a bit greedy with that, and ended up doing it a bit too late. So these are not going to be worth very many points. I do offer the pass to the opponent. I say, yeah, I mean, I don't even think I could take it at this point with the E-gun from Renew. But it's after the Morkvarg came down that kind of seals the deal and shuts me out of this round 2 pretty much. Now, Trynet can go in and he can win, or he can pass and probably win as well. So he's kind of got all of the options available to him. And I think he will end up going in here with his scenario. I don't have a bomb heaver, so he can play that just, just vanilla on the board. And he maybe even goes in with leader as well. And he's really trying to get the Caranthir from me. Of course, he probably thinks right now that I have Caranthir and the Kikimor Queen on hand as my last 2 cards. And, it's actually potentially a good thing for me that I don't, because the Kikimor Queen plus a Renew onto a bigger unit like Goliath might actually be more points in this particular situation. But he's actually holding on to the scenario until last card. And yeah, going to be a bit weird for me. I think I have to go with the Kikimor Queen now, because otherwise I just don't have enough points in this round. And yeah, it's a bit of a sad state to be in when the Kikimor gets bullied like this. This is definitely how you should play against it if you come across it. Just push them, push them, push them, and if they don't play perfectly, they're going to lose most likely, and if they do, then you're still going to have a good chance if you take all the correct lines yourself. So I think Trynet will go in here with the scenario and the leader ability, and that will actually seal the deal, because I just simply don't have enough points. Let's see if we can skip ahead a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time. So yeah, he goes in with the scenario, and I'm behind by 6 points at the end. I do eat the Barghest with my leader to proc Thrive again, but it doesn't end up being enough. So maybe I should have let that play. I'm sorry if that's not ideal, but I don't want the video to be too long. That's all. Alright, so let's jump into game number 2. Now if Trynet wins this, he does win the series, so quite important obviously. And it's going to be my Syndicate now. I'm playing this on the red coin because it has a good red coin. Good time on the red coin. You can abuse the poison value, the carryover value from the coins. And his last deck is Northern Realms that he needs to win with. So I'm feeling reasonably comfortable about this matchup. He has a bomb heaver that doesn't work. Syndicate is pretty strong in general. It's probably the best faction, right? So, at this point, that's what I'm thinking. And I've got a deck that I feel quite comfortable with. I've got Jackpot, which I've played a lot of games on, and I think is a very cool leader. So, going to be a round 1 here. And really my objective is to win round 1. His objective is also to win round 1, although he can, if he needs to, get out of the round. He can pass and defend the bleed with Draug and stuff. But if I'm not winning round 1, I will lose round 3 to a long round, a Draug, a Visigoth, a Scytheman. So I really need to try to win this round. I need to try to push him in round 2. So that's what I'm going to do. Just going to start slow and build it up. And use that poison value, maybe an engine here with Imke. I'm thinking about maybe using the shield for Imke, because with open deck lists I know he doesn't have any way to really deal with Imke if I shield her. Otherwise he can maybe play Boiling Oil, he can play Prince Anses. He's going to go with Anna and boost it to get the immediate engine value rolling, which gives me a really good poison target. And obviously I do want to deal with that Anna ASAP, so that's probably going to be my next kind of few plays. Shut down the engine, get the coins of course, and I'm also trying to get to the 9 coin count threshold so that the boat comes out and frees up my mulligans later on. Obviously playing Jackpot's a bit different to Hidden Cash. You don't get the boat out as easily. You have to think a bit more about how you're going to get to 9 coins, since it's a lot harder to get there than it is to get to 6. But I can maybe do that with Imke in the future, since she'll gain me 2 coins, put me to 9. So just a kind of chill Enchantress play from him. I'm going to take the second poison here, choosing to use the Hound because if I don't use Hound for poison, it's capped at 5 points, whereas Traffickers are capped at 6 points, so they're a little bit better to save in this matchup where I can self-poison without too much trouble. Now, interestingly, he goes for another Enchantress here, which gives me a very good Philippa opportunity. I have 7 coins, I could steal the 6-point Enchantress, which is growing, for a lot of value, and I think about it, and you know, I could decide to play that and burst ahead in points. But at this point I decide, I think I'd rather, you know, take the slow approach here. I can still Philippa it next turn if I want, and I don't want to overcommit here in terms of, if I play the Philippa and then he has a strong card like Falibor to come next, then I might not actually be able to, you know, take the round very easily, and might in fact, you know, lose all my coin carryover that I had, which might become very relevant. The coin carryover obviously helps me to push round 2, having those extra points. So I'm just going to go with Imke here. It will get my boat out. I don't really mind too much if it dies, because I already have a lot of coins. I don't really need the coin generation anymore. And I can always, you know, use the Traffickers or whatever, should I need to. And I've still got this Philippa on the cards, so I can really punish him now if he plays on and doesn't kill Imke. Then he probably will lose on even, because I've got that engine rolling now, and I can then do a big point swing with all these coins. So I'm kind of forcing him into a situation where he either has to kill Imke or pass. So he does have Boiling Oil, he could go for the kill. If he were to do that, I would probably then slam the Philippa and take that juicy 7-point Enchantress, and that would probably be winning me the round on even, looking at his hand. Of course, it could become a bit awkward for me with the weaker bronzes that I have, but I think he's a bit scared of that eventuality happening, and he does take the pass. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm going to be able to actually take the round without using my Philippa. I can save that for later on. And I'm going to be able to steal some kind of engine, get a bit of value from it, and it's just a very powerful gold to have for later. So yeah, I'm just going to be able to use some of my coins. I'm going to gain 4 more coins from the Imke, because she does activate even when you've passed. So that means I can spend all the way down to, you know, 4 coins really, which is what I do. And it's just enough to get me ahead, which is very, very convenient. I get the full carryover, 4 coin carryover, winning by a point that round. So kind of a perfect outcome for me. It would have also been nice to win on even, but that would have required more commitment, and it could have gone wrong if his hand was quite strong and he responded with Falibor and that kind of thing to defend. So looking at my draws here, they're not too great. I need to be able to push round 2, and I also don't have access to some of my best cards at the moment with the Louisa and Savola, which I'm not too happy about. I would have liked to maybe have them to push with in this round 2. But without them, I'm just going to have to make the most of it and try to do some kind of bleed here. Now often with this deck, and with Syndicate in general, I really like using the Dire Mutated Hound to abuse the opponent with open deck lists. It's very easy to see if they have answers to that armor. So now while playing Royal Decree is kind of bad here for me, because I won't be able to get my Louisa Savola later, you know, necessarily. If I draw one but not the other, that could feel very bad. I know that I need to push this round in. I want to keep Saul as a kind of finisher if I can, because it's very good with my leader, and I don't want to play my leader in round 2 because that'll give him a lot of options in how he wants to overcome my points. You know, whether he chooses to take it with good cards, without his leader, with his leader. That can put me in a weird situation where I'm you know, quite unfavored in round 3. So I'm just going to open with Azar, kind of test the waters a little bit. I want to see Sheila, I want to see Falibor, I want to see some of that damage that he can use to deal with my Hound, because right now I'm thinking about my follow-up play, you know, very well might be a Hound, and I can try to control his board a little bit, potentially, or just reapply armor with my dog, you know, to keep those points rolling. And he does play the Sheila, so that's a pretty good Philippa target, I'm thinking. Now, I also would quite like to get to 9 coins to get boat out, but it's quite difficult in this round 2 to do that unless my Ludovicus, my gnome, survives. He needs to survive 2 turns, effectively. and then he gives you 6 coins. But we do see the boiling oil in his hand, which can answer him. So I'm going to take the Sheila here. The damage won't be too relevant, but I do want to deny that 2 damage from him because it can be used to, more easily kill things, maybe Convincent, and shoot something to kill an engine that I have. Or he can ping off the Hound armor, and I still have it in my mind that I'm probably going to play the Hound here, because it's really the big tempo play that's not a Saul that I can use to actually get enough points here to force his Draug, because that's really the key thing against Northern Realms. You've got to make sure the Draug isn't coming down in round 3 against you, otherwise you're in huge trouble. So he's going to roll to create out the Adalia and start getting some humans on the board, threaten to get ahead. This is one of the reasons Northern Realms is so scary. They just have a ton of points on this defensive, when they're defending the bleed, and all of those points work towards setting up Draug. Once Draug comes down, you're not winning the round anymore. It's not happening. So at some point we might lose our card here since my hand isn't too good. That's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Now, I'm not actually sure if I do end up playing the Hound in this particular game, in this particular round, but I'm always thinking about that in these matchups where I know, what the opponent's hand is looking like. Because Hound can be very abusive if you know there's not efficient ways to deal with its armor, and you can keep reapplying the armor with some coins. So I'm going to go with the Gnome here. I figure he might not have removal if he didn't go for the kill on the Sheila here. Maybe he's saving it. But I was also thinking to myself, I could use my leader now, the Jackpot. I could boost the Gnome by 3, and that would make it easier for it to survive. The problem is he could then go for a play like boiling oil into Falibor, for example, and that would still kill my Gnome in time. He wouldn't get his effect off. And I was thinking, at that point, then I'm probably behind in points, and I will have used my leader. Maybe I'm not behind in points, but my leader will be gone, and he'll be able to have round 3 with a leader against me without. So I was thinking, yeah, probably not worth it. I'll just play the Gnome. Maybe it dies, maybe it doesn't. It does die here, which is kind of sad, because I wanted those 6 coins, get me up to 9, get the boat out, maybe play a Sea Jackal after that. But not going to be the case here. So now I'm in a bit of a weird situation. I kind of would like to play, I kind of would like to play more. I know I need to get the Draug. If I don't, I'm in a huge trouble. And I think the only option here is Royal Decree, really, unless I want to go in with my leader and Saul, which wouldn't feel too good. Could also play a Lambert, but right now it's not looking very appealing because of the shield on the Caravan. And, from Trynet's position, he's got some pretty straightforward plays coming up. Another Caravan can be what he plays, and then maybe Draug or maybe Falibor to get ahead. So it's looking very awkward for me. I'm kind of relying on the fact that Louisa Savolla can bail me out in round 3, even if I'm a card down. And I figure, you know what, I need some tempo right now. I need to play the dog. And I kind of identify that, okay, dog is the one way that I can actually get points in this round at this stage without using my leader. So I do play it. He does play Falibor. And this is really awkward for me because, I'm only 1 point ahead. He hasn't played Draug yet. I know there's another Caravan in hand. Now on the bright side I have Lambert, so if he plays a Caravan Vanguard, I can commit my Lambert at that point. Honestly, I probably should have used Sheila to ping a Dahlia with that in mind, because then if I were to do a follow-up Lambert, it would get the full value on the Caravan instead of just dealing 1 damage. But that's like a very small thing. So at this point I'm kind of thinking, I'm not winning the game if I don't get Draug from him, so I have to keep playing. Fist Tech's really bad, but I'm just going to play it here as a 4, and then I'm going to I'm going to reactivate the dog. And really rely on the points that that's generating to carry me through this round. So very low tempo play, very kind of weak. I figure that maybe the poison will also bait him into playing Draug. He might figure that that's, denying a poison from my hand. And the poison is quite high tempo if I have a second one here. And it looks like he takes that bait and does play the Draug here to transform Falibor. So I'm actually pretty damn happy with that result. I figured, as long as I can get Draug in this round too, I'm in a decent position. I can definitely win the game if things go well. If I draw Louisa Savolla, You know, if I have Soul going off and he doesn't have a Baron maybe, or doesn't have Ansays to kill it. So there's a lot of ways I can win now, even though I'm a card down. What's unfortunate is I don't really have much carryover. Being a card down, I would like to have maybe 9 coins in the bank for the round 3. But I decide not going to play more into the round. I could Lambert the Revenants, but it doesn't get me anywhere. He's still going to be able to very easily get ahead in one card because all the Revenants will kill each other and recycle themselves and deny my dog value. So committing Lambert here feels like a mistake because I can save him, deal with Caravan Vanguards in round 3 with the Lambert, maybe take away some Visigoth value or Scytheman value by damaging the boosted guys. So I figure Lambert's good to hold on to at this stage. Now my top decks aren't very good at all. I do draw Pickpocket, which is quite awkward. And I'm really worried here. I figure Sea Jackal and Ewald is probably too many spenders. I'm going to go look for Louisa Savolla. If I do find that, then I'm going to mulligan again. Maybe I'll mulligan Pickpocket if I find one of the combo pieces. I didn't, I just found another Sea Jackal. So then I think, I don't think this hand really gets any better. I could mulligan Sea Jackal, but it's, you know, it's probably better than just having a Louisa or Savolla on its own, because it gives me that other spender option and makes my life a bit more easy in that regard. But I'm very sad I didn't find Louisa Savolla. And that's kind of because I didn't, you know, I played the Royal Decree in round 2, and also, of course, a little bit of bad luck just not finding it. So now my situation is really poor. I'm thinking, very unlikely I can win this because Baron is going to smash my Soul. I don't really have a way to deal with that. You know, Ansays can come down and ruin my day as well with the damage. Maybe kill Ewald or my Sea Jackal or Morale and make my poison bricked. I was just thinking there's a lot of really horrible things here that can happen, and I probably should be losing at this point. But looking at Trynet's hand, he doesn't really have very much. He also didn't draw his kind of key cards for the round 3. Doesn't have the Baron, doesn't have the Prince. He has some, you know, pretty good cards still. He's got the reinforcements, and he considers playing it now, but he does a very interesting and clever play here, which is to play Voimir first. And that kind of baits me into assuming he has no more Caravan Vanguards, right? Because if he had more Caravan Vanguards, why would he play Voimir now? It doesn't make any sense. He loses value. So I guess that was just a very intelligent play from him. He's going to just, yeah, go for the Voimir and basically bait out my Lambert. I figured, well, there's no way he has more of those in hand if he doesn't, you know, if he already played the Voimir. Now he did, and that meant he actually gained a little bit of value here and denied some of my Lambert value. So that's very good for him. Yeah, I will decide to take the Lambert. I just figured, why would he make that play if he didn't have more Caravan Vanguard? So that's, you know, one of the times that bluffing or baiting in Gwent really can work for you. So that was very cool to see. And, you know, after he plays the reinforcements onto the Caravan guys, I'm like, god damn. Damn it, I fell for that. But, yeah, that's what I go for here. Still good value Lambert because it's denying the boosts. So I basically trade up with his Voimir, which is a very good card, obviously in Northern Realms, and I'm denying some Scytheman, Visigoth value for later, leader value. But he has a very scary round 3 still here. It's just the right length for the Northern Realms that all their boosts will find value. And I'm just terrified because I know Morale might die, I might not get that poison off, he might be a 5-point card. I know my Pickpocket's pretty underwhelming. I'm playing into Baron in a huge way with the Soul. And I don't know what to do. I'm thinking, I've probably lost at this point. It's probably over. Let me just play Sea Jackal. I'll boost it once to play around Ansays, because he could kill it, and that would make life a bit weird if I don't have that spender on the board. At this point in my mind, I'm still playing around him having Baron. I'm thinking, okay, if he has Baron, then okay, let's take a bit of a hit on this Soul and buff the Sea Jackal up. Maybe I can still win. Maybe there's a way if, you know, maybe he wastes his Ansays and Priest of Baron. You know, maybe he doesn't have Baron. And I actually come to identify my win condition here in a second. He plays Temple Guard, getting more boosts on the board, of course. And I do identify my win condition at this point, which is I can only really win this game if my opponent doesn't have a good hand. If my opponent has a good hand, if he has Baron, if he has Ansays, there's not really any way I'm winning, to be honest. And I probably should have realized that. I could have, you know, maybe not boosted Sea Jackal. I think it was still correct to do that because he could have otherwise killed it with Visigodd, and that would have been really bad. At that point, I would have just, you know, thrown away that spender, and that spender's quite key to keep alive. But at this point, I'm thinking, okay, so I can't win the game if he has Baron. I can't really win the game if he has Anses as well. So I'm just going to play for maximum Soul value and really hope that Soul carries me here. Not a good feeling. I felt like I'd lost at this point, but as you can see, he doesn't have Barons, so there's still hope. And he also doesn't necessarily have an answer to morale, although, you know, Visigodd can shut that down. I'm also, yeah, worried that the morale will die and do nothing, which is just not great. But I'm going to go for maximum Soul value, make sure I'm at 9 coins still. Get him flowing in, and he's worth a lot of points, and I have 9 in the bank, so I'm not, you know, I'm not too far behind right now. Yes, I'm a card down, and he has a leader still, but, you know, maybe I have a chance here. If somehow my morale can stick on the board, you know, kill a unit of some kind. Now, interestingly here, I think Trynet misplays a little bit. He does go for the Visigodd, which isn't a bad play. He takes out my Sea Jackal, making that quite weird for me. I don't now have a spender. But I think the mistake he makes here is using the rest of his leader charges. I guess he presumed that I would be shooting things with Uold to take away leader value. But that does mean I get a really nice morale target. This Scytheman is very juicy. And, you know, it's possible that I could have, you know, shot the guys with Uold, but really he didn't have the morale in mind and didn't have punishing that in mind, I think, when he made that play. So that's really nice for me because, you know, quite clearly now I can clean up a little bit, take out that 10 with the morale. He does get a lot of Scytheman value, but I'm able to spend all my coins and, you know, I'm 7 points up at the end, and guess what? He has a Vincent. I don't have Louisa Savola, so that's not too painful, and it actually ends up being a tie. So, very, very, very close round 3, and I think I played the round 3 as best as I could with what I had, but, you know, maybe Trynet could have maximized points there a little bit better with his sequencing, you know, if he'd played around the morale, but it's hard to know that I would have that in hand rather than Louisa Savola or something like that, which is what you typically expect from the round 3. With Syndicate, but yeah, that's going to be the game over there. So I'm pretty happy to get a tie. That means we actually replay the game with the same deck, same coin flip, everything. So we'll jump into that now. There's a lot of very interesting decisions that go into these, you know, these matchups, even if they feel a little bit tiresome at times. Go through the mulligans here, blocking some of them, but right now my hand is filled with poison. I have morale as well now, which is a good round 1 play potentially to fork the opponent, and I have MK again, which is cool. He does have boiling oil, which is very good answer to MK. And he's going to start with Marauder, so I'm figuring I can, you know, maybe take a Fist Tech here, which is what I end up doing. It's effectively killing a 6-point unit because this Mauler has the 2 damage available. And I'd rather not play into that 2 damage because it could allow him to kill things more easily. If I want to play Urchins, for example, then it will pretty easily die and lose me my spender. So just going to set up some poison stuff here. Take that unit out and then maybe go for an MK, maybe defend the MK, something like that. Again, the same premise as the last game. I need to win round 1 so that I can bleed him round 2. And now I do have Louisa in hand, and I have Royal Decree, so I'm already feeling a lot better about this game than the last, because my hand looks a lot better round 1. And I have that kind of finisher value that I was missing before. And that will mean I can also push round 2 more effectively with Louisa Savola, you know, potentially with other things. And I think Trynet also realizes that he should really be trying to win round 1 more than he did last game, because he's going to go with a Dahlia already. To be honest, there were no real other plays that were too great for him, because if he buffs up the poisoned unit, then obviously he loses some value. But okay, I can just take my Trafficker now, that's pretty good for me. just take the value on that. And then I'm going to probably get the MK down, maybe shield it up if it feels right to do that. And yeah, go from there. Assuming he doesn't play a big unit, of course, and offer me more poison value. Now, one thing I wanted to maybe do was play the morale before the MK so that, you know, he might be baited into killing morale instead of MK with some of his damage. So that was in the back of my mind as well. And really the objective here just to get to 9 coins again, as with the last game before, you know, before going crazy with stuff. And he's going to go with Anna and buff it up. So that presents a really good poison target. So I'm going to go with Morale, and I've got the Fistech Trafficker to follow up on it. Okay. So it looks like he actually does take the bait. He kills my morale with boiling oil, and that's kind of fantastic for me. That's like the perfect result in this particular situation. I'm able to take the poison value still, deal with that Anna, as I did in the last game with the Trafficker, and now I'm feeling great because I know, well, there's one less way for him to deal with MK available. So now I'm just going to slam the MK and really threaten the long round now, or threaten the next few turns to, you know, potentially get ahead or just develop a ton of carryover. I think maybe it's worth shielding it to play around Ansays, maybe, maybe not. Also thinking about, you know, maybe playing Blacksmith to, or, you know, even Defender to protect it a bit. But I'm figuring, if he kills MK, is it even that bad? Probably not. I think I could still push on if he did play an Ansays here. And I can get the boat out, I can develop carryover, and there's maybe even ways that I win this game without bleeding Draug. You know, maybe I can Uold and kill a lot of humans, and if he doesn't have Ansays to deal with Soul, then the Soul can be pretty damn strong in a long round. So I'm thinking if he Ansays me here, it's not too bad. I'm not going to shield up the MK, I think it's a bit too many coins spent there, and it's going to make it harder for me to push here. Now honestly, Trynet probably should have taken the Ansays, I think, because without it, you're not really going to be able to win the round against MK. And I assumed when he didn't play the Ansays that he probably just didn't have it, because it's a very good, you know, it's a very good time to play it. But instead he goes with Caravan Vanguard. He's feeling, you know, I think I can win this round with just playing my Voimir, the Caravans. My opponent's not got many points on the board. He's going to have to pass pretty soon. That's probably what's going on in Trynet's head. So I'm just like, okay, fine, I'll play more bad cards really now. If you're going to start committing good cards, I'll play bad cards. I have an engine ticking on the board. I have a ton of hidden points. 9 in the bank. Boat now comes out. I'm only 10 behind, so I can easily get ahead with a bad play here. With a weak card if he passes. If he doesn't pass, I could play a strong card, maybe. You know, I'm always threatening a Philippa with Royal Decree. I'd quite like to save the Decree so I get guaranteed Louisa Savolla for round 2 or 3. But he's in a very weird spot now that he didn't play this Prince earlier, because he doesn't want to do it now because it feels like he's lost value on it. And, you know, it's still not a bad play here, potentially, if he wants to push on, but he really values the Prince, thinks it's a very strong and important card for later on, which it is. So he goes with Voimir instead, but Voimir's not very threatening, it's only a 9, and I'm still getting 2 points per turn with MK. So now I can go ahead and play just a Blacksmith, another bad play. I could play Azar as well. Either of those kind of weaker cards, and I'm still going to be able to make it in one more card because of that engine value and the hidden points. So I'm just going to put the opponent in a really nasty position where they can't really push more into this round without committing good cards that they need for later. And if they don't push into the round, then I'm winning the round with very bad cards. So it's kind of like forking them in a way. There's not really a good decision for him to make. If he pushes and plays good cards, I can always just take a pass and have all my carryover, and maybe win the game with the carryover and, you know, controlling the board later with Uold, stuff like that. Especially now that the round 3 will be a bit shorter, since we've played down to 3 cards. And if he doesn't play on, then I'm going to win the round with this carryover still, and make life very difficult for him. But in all honesty, he made a few mistakes in this round 1 that really cost him. For example, boosting up Anna was not good with the tactical advantage, because that gave me a lot of pushing potential in this round, allowed me to kill that, you know, very efficiently. So I'm going to go with Azar, withhold tribute to get coins, spend some coins, you know. Same deal as last game, using MK as kind of a way to generate carryover and push the round. And we go to round 2. Again, I win by 1 point and have 4 carryover for round 2, which is the perfect position to be in with the Syndicate. That's what you'd love to have happen. So yeah, Trynet probably should have played an earlier Ansays in that round 1, and he shouldn't have buffed the Anna. I think those were 2 mistakes that really did cost him here. And looking at my hand here, I'm you know, okay with it. The mulligan into Fistek's a bit sad. I wanted to find maybe Savola so that I didn't have to Royal Decree into it, or just another good card in general. But I do have Dog, and Dog is cool, I figure. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to just slam Dog. I did it last game and it worked reasonably well. He can obviously just Sheila it now, which means I don't get too much value from it, but it's still an 8 for 8, with the potential for me to be using that, you know, fee ability. Which, you know, I might end up doing. But for now, I'll play Ewald. I'll kill the Sheila, because I want to have the option to click on Dog again. I don't like having that damage on the board, as I said before. It's a bit awkward. And at this point, I've identified that I need to push him. This is going to be a very powerful bleed from my part, because I can play Louisa Savola in a short round 2, which means there's not very much time for them to kind of catch up to those points. There's not many plays that he can make that will do that. And I'm also thinking, okay, I get 2 coins from Savola, which I can use to reactivate the Dog, or I can use to kill another unit with Ewald. I was thinking about playing Jackpot there and immediately clicking the Dog, but I figured, I need to save the Jackpot for round 3, for the Soul to come out and get my boat out and just have some power remaining. If I play Leader here, he could maybe go a card down, you know, play his Draug, but you know, lose a card, but he wouldn't really care because he'd have a Leader over me. So I think playing Leader here would have been bad from my part. Instead, the way I'm going to do this is just Louisa Savola, slam some tempo, force the Draug, like really force the Draug, and I can potentially kill 1 more Revenant if he doesn't answer Ewald as well, because he's going to be able to deal 4 damage after Savola comes down. And if there's only 1 Revenant on the board, I'm thinking, I mean, does he even have the points to catch up here? I'm not sure he will, if I'm able to get another kill with Ewald. Ansays would also have to probably, you know, come down on the... I'm losing connection, so let me just skip ahead, because my internet was very bad during the tournament here. But yeah. I'm going to play the... Oh wait, we skipped ahead a little bit there, oops. Yeah, so he ends up playing Ansays to kill the Ewald there, so that I can't destroy one of these Revenants when his Draug does come down. That means I end up clicking on the Dog with the 4 coins that I have from Savola, because that just gets me a little bit of extra value. Spend those coins, a few extra points here, make his life difficult. Now he does have Vincent to answer my Savola, so that gets him a lot of value. But the Dog is growing, and the Revenants aren't able to recycle themselves at this point because it's such a short round. He doesn't have Sabrina, and he doesn't have the time to do all the setup plays that would normally get you the Revenant value. So the Louisa Savola Dog Ewald here was just mind-blowingly good, and he's actually forced to commit his Leader because 3 Leader charges wasn't enough to get him ahead there. Unfortunately for him, very awkward, so he ends up with no Leader. I still have mine, and that's pretty much going to be game at this point. Being effectively a whole card down, and it's Jackpot. It's a really good Leader, you know. It's 9 points, probably more than 9, because you know, you've got a Sea Jackal or something which really benefits from those coins. You've got a Soul, which I did draw into. My draws were not too great here. Neither were his. We both kind of had some pretty poor top decks, which is, you know, what you'd expect for this sort of very short top deck situation. But I found enough. I have Poisons, which I can use. I have Soul, which is honestly my best card at this point, probably. and Sea Jackal to spend. So I'm feeling like there's no way I lose here. He's just going to play crappy bronzes, 6 points each. Okay, you know, I can play poison now if I feel like it. I can probably even hold on to the Sea Jackal and not spend, because he had already played Ansays and Boiling Oil at this stage, so Sea Jackal was going to be safe on the board. I could just allow my soul to get extra value if I wanted. Really just nothing too threatening coming out from the opponent's round 3. Once you've got the Draug, once it's a short round, you could have had a Baron for a few extra points, but I'm so far ahead with these 9 coins and Jackal and Poison. It's not close at all. So we managed to eke out the win there with a really successful round 1, which just kind of went my way in every way, and a round 2 which, you know, similarly had a very good hand for bleeding it. And yeah, a much more one-sided game than the previous one, because I drew a lot better, and, you know, Trynet drew arguably the same way he did the previous game. He missed some of his cards. He missed Baron, for example. Alright, now we're going to roll into the final game of the series, which will be my Kikimor Queen up against his Northern Realms. So this is another matchup which I figured I would probably win if I played it right, because of that Defender, the Cave Troll being really good against Northern Realms without Purify. Important to note that Trynet was not running a Pella or a Caretaker or anything, so Cave Troll going to be a really formidable is that the word? A really big presence in this game. Gonna make life difficult, make it difficult for him to, you know, deal with my engines, my Thrive units and whatnot. So round 1, Kikimor on blue. You want to just push, same as the game against Skellige, but hopefully this time without, you know, so much coin abuse and bullying from Ceres and stuff. Now I played the Lava again on front here. This time I don't think it was a misplay, because I had another set of Larvae, which I do end up playing here as well. I decided I wasn't going to play Egg probably in this round, and I wasn't going to run into the same issue that I did before in that game 1, so just play all the Lava on front, that's fine. Yeah, there's definitely an argument to still play those on back. I think maybe on blue coin those should go on range throw, and that's something I've realised after playing this, after I played this series. But Mauler is going to come down that, you know, I was thinking probably one of these Lava will die, maybe 2 if he has Falibor, and then things can get real nasty. But he doesn't choose to play the Royal Decree into Falibor. He's just going to kind of chill. Now I was thinking, maybe I should just Cave Troll here and kind of defend these. And that's actually, I think, what I end up doing. Because I know in his deck he doesn't have an answer for Cave Troll. Now, a bit of a difficult decision, because I don't have Caranthia in my hand right now. I don't have Matter, I don't have Renew. Although Matter wouldn't be finding Caranthia anyway. But yeah, I don't have Caranthia, so using Royal Decree is quite expensive, because if I don't find my Caranthia later in the game, I will probably lose, just straight up. I need to find that combo piece. And playing the Cave Troll in this round is very expensive as well, because that card is very powerful in this matchup. Now, what it does mean is that I probably win this round, because he can't really deal with the Cave Troll. There's nothing he can do about it other than Vincent it and try to smash through it with his damage. But by that point, all my Thrive engines will have got so many points that he'll be too far behind to actually have any chance of winning. So the Cave Troll that play there is, you know, it's a bit risky. It's basically me saying, I think I'm going to draw Caranthia and everything's going to be okay. I'm going to smash that, win round 1, and then we can go to round 3 and I'll win. All things going according to plan. And, you know, he's just dropping bad bronzes at this stage. Really trying to, you know, trying to get as much value as he can before taking the pass and inevitably going to round 3 or whatever. I was thinking to myself, I've probably guaranteed win this game if I draw Caranthia in round 2 and push, because I'm going to be able to force a lot of his good stuff and he won't actually be able to very easily, you know, get ahead of all that abuse and that nonsense. The round 3, the long round 3, where both players have their ideal hands, that's where Northern Realms can sometimes beat the Kikimor Queen. Looks like I've actually run out of music, so that's kind of fun. I'll just allow that to keep rolling. Just some nice background tunes, I guess. Okay, so I did manage to win the round one. He didn't, wasn't able to push into the cave troll really. Very powerful. And at this point I'm just praying to the gods that I can find Caranthir. I don't find it here, but there's still a chance going into round 3. Now I did think to myself, do I need to push this round 2? Like, what happens if I don't find Caranthir? Because if I don't find it for round 3, I pretty much guarantee lose the game. There's not much hope for me if I don't have my combo. And that's what the Royal Decree play round 1 is gonna, that's the burden that it's gonna put on me, is that I have to try to top deck Caranthir now. But I'm going to play out Egon in this round, see what I get from him in response. I, might be able to force a good card or two from the opponent. And I want to set up my Osril anyway, since I didn't play a big unit in round 1. So the Egon player is kind of a no-brainer. I was thinking maybe I should Necromancy some Larvae and just go in. But I was also thinking if I Necromancy Larvae, then I won't have it for round 3, and that would be kind of terrible. Because those thriving units get me a lot of my points in that round 3. He does go with Caravan Vanguard, so at this point I'm really weighing my options. I know that if I just go round 3 and if I have the Caranthir, I'm probably going to win the game. Now I'm also identifying my renew target as probably being Cave Troll here. If I renew Cave Troll to protect my Kikimores, then I can probably get more value from them than just by playing another Kikimore with renew on Caranthir. Now I'm not entirely sure if that's the case, but that might actually end up costing me some points. But I figured, yeah, if I can just Cave Troll and really deny him the kills on my stuff, then that's going to be good for me. So yeah, I decide, you know what, I don't think pushing here is going to be a winning line. It's not going to be a winning approach. So instead I'm just going to take a pass. I'm going to draw Caranthir. I'm going to put faith in that. I have a lot of chances to do it. It's reasonably likely that I'll get it. If I don't, then I lose. If I do, then I most likely win this, provided everything goes okay. And there it is. There's the Caranthir draw, so I do get it. I'm very pleased to see that. Moonwraith, not going to be too good, so I mulligan it. And then I can probably get rid of an egg as well, since that's just too much swarm on the board. And Trynet's got a pretty nasty hand himself. He does end up missing out on some of his important cards, but he has Royal Decree to fish for them. The only real bad card is the Enchantress. Now I did draw Pugo, which is pretty terrible as well, but I'm liking my position in this game. I think at this point I've probably won. It's looking very good for me. I'm a Kikimore Queen deck. I'm in round 3. I have my combo. I have my leader. I even have a Cave Troll if I need it to protect my guys. I have one set of Larvae as well. I was feeling very good about that. So he's just going to go with the regular kind of humans. Now I was thinking, yeah, maybe I should just go Cave Troll immediately to protect my Larvae, because I really want those to stick around and get the Thrive value. I could go Necromancy first, but then he could, maybe play Falibor to punish the Larvae. So I just figure, yeah, okay, let's just go Cave Troll now. I'm not sure if this was correct in hindsight. It would have been quite good to have a third, like another Kikimore Queen with Renew onto Caranthir. That might have just been more points than the Cave Troll. Because while the Cave Troll does protect my stuff for the kind of time being, it will eventually get answered through Vincent and pings of damage and whatnot, but yeah, very, very strong play here still. The opponent's going to be hard-pressed to deal with that, and it allows me some time to set up my engines, which is what you really love to happen as Kikimore. So I'll go with Necromancy now, get the Larva online. And yeah, he's going to try to break through this with Vincent and other tools, the Sheila, maybe Falibor next. And at this point I'm a little bit... It's a bit annoying, but I'm figuring, okay, well, I can probably go with the Caranthir play now and protect my Larvae. That'll get them to a strength where Falibor plus the Sheila ping won't kill them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and just, thrive up a little bit. Of course, probably eat the Caranthir as well. is going to mean, you know, I don't have so many insects on the board as I would like, but, you know, he's threatening to kill stuff, so I kind of am forced to do this, and I want my Kikimores to get big as well, as soon as possible, because if they're big, then they're not getting removed by ansays and by, you know, stuff like that, by boiling oil, etc., which I do end up playing around. But he can get through the defender now and start threatening to kill these guys. Luckily I have, it seems like, one turn of my Kikimores being sort of alive. That's pretty nice for me. So in my head I'm really thinking about boiling oil, I think is the main card that I'm worried about him playing. I can't quite remember, maybe I just did something wrong here. But it should obviously be Kikimore Queen coming down next. Like, I might have played eggs, and I'm not sure that's a good play, honestly. I think I played the egg, yeah. So I guess the reasoning here is I can get one more Thrive activation on that, you know, weaker Kikimore Queen. But I should have really realized that that Kikimore Queen was going to die anyway. So getting an extra Thrive from it doesn't really matter. So I think here I should have played the last Kikimore Queen, because that would have meant having 2 on the board rather than just the 1. Now, I'm not sure if it's relevant at all, but yeah, assuming this 4 strength one will die anyway, which is very likely, then just getting another Kikimore Queen developed is the way forward, really. And as you can see here, I mean, I guess it didn't really matter, because he doesn't have a boiling oil, but if he did have boiling oil, I think I found, you know, I think this line was quite a bad way to play, because he could, if, you know, now I want to play my, my other Kikimore Queen, of course, before playing other big units, and yeah, he can just kill one with the boiling oil. And I may have even, I can't remember what happened here, but I might have even gone for matter or something to play around boiling oil even more, but luckily he didn't have it, so that means my 2 last Kikis are going to stick, which is, in theory, enough to win me the game. So while I maybe missequenced a little bit here, and it could have been a bit better, no harm, no foul, it's kind of all good. I also have these, this egg on the board, which I can use to get more insectoids, and, you know, go really crazy with that. Now, I will go with matter next, because this is going to be a free, you know, activation of my Kikis, which I wouldn't otherwise get. So that's all fine. Just want to go on Thrive curve at the moment. And then once I'm free to eat the eggs, I can do that. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good at this point. The opponent's just going to, you know, set up their own engines, you know, maybe set up the Draug soon. But the Sheila damage, not going to do too much. They also don't have Sabrina, so, you know, Sabrina's not that powerful, but against all the armor, but it is a card. So now at this point I'm going to eat the eggs. Now, I think this was a big misplay actually here that kind of cost me the game, and that was eating the eggs there with Barghest. I don't know why I did that. I really don't. I should have eaten with the warrior, because it would have created more insects for me on that row, and there was just kind of no reason not to eat with the warrior. I would have, you know, it's an insectoid itself, it would have spawned an extra insectoid, so I was worried about row limit, but I shouldn't have been worried about that. I just didn't really take the time to calculate it, and as a result I'm going to miss out on like quite a lot of points here. I'm lacking effectively two insectoids on that front row that I otherwise would have had. And yeah, I was worried about row spacing issues, but I didn't take time to calculate how many units there would have actually been, so I think it would have been fine to play warrior. And at this point I'm still feeling pretty good. I'm like, yeah, whatever, okay, maybe that wasn't perfect the way I played it here, but no harm, no foul. I'm still up by 30 points. It's still Kikimore Queen, right? I'm still probably winning this. Now, one big problem here with my hand is I have a Pugo, and Pugo doesn't actually activate my Kikimores. And I mean, I'm not sure if the sequencing here mattered, but there was the possibility that I maybe should have played my Pugo before eating the egg, because it was a smaller unit, it would have activated Thrive more. So I think the way I sequenced here, I really lost out on a lot of points, one way or another. Pugo being dead is kind of horribly bad for me. It's just going to be a 7 or a, you know, maybe a little bit better than that. But at the same time, I'm still thinking, yeah, probably alright. probably fine. I'm still up 50 points, you know. The Baron is scary, it's a lot of points, and the Revenants are copying themselves, and of course, the long round Northern Realms is very scary with the Voimir now coming down, and then the couple of Scythemen at the end. But I'm figuring, yeah, it's fine, I've got one more Kiki proc, don't worry about it. Let's play Pugo now, I guess. I probably honestly should have gone with the Warrior first, but I figured that would be another body, you know, that could disrupt whether Pugo hit armor or not. He does hit the armor, which is good for me. One thing I maybe should have done was play the Pugo earlier, because it could have hit the armor of the Queen and allowed another proc. And it does look like the Scythemen are coming down for huge points here. At this point I'm a little bit scared, but I figure, this is still enough, right? Let's just play Warrior. And it's not enough. By 1 point. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe it. My confidence with the deck, I think, caused my downfall in that particular one. I thought I had won at that point. I thought there was no chance I could lose. Kiki more round 3, very strong, but I missequenced a lot. I lost a lot of points. You know, I didn't quite play that one properly. I misplayed very hard, and should have played an earlier Warrior potentially. Should have maybe played my Pugo earlier. Should have maybe taken a different mulligan. Maybe shouldn't have renewed the Cave Troll. There are a lot of lines that could have probably won me the game there. And, you know, some of them maybe not, but yeah, that was kind of a solitaire game of 3, which ultimately I lost because of the missequencing and I guess, yeah, overconfidence in the deck and having so many points that my plays didn't really matter. But yeah, that was the series. Hope you enjoyed. I will do more of these. They're quite lengthy, I guess, but if you've got the time, nothing else to do but, you know, chill in quarantine and watch some Gwent stuff. But yeah, with that being said, hope you enjoyed, hope you maybe learned some things. I will be showcasing, yeah, all of the games that I play during this tournament if you guys want to see that, because I think it could be quite interesting and educational, and I quite like doing it as well. And yeah, maybe even more tournaments going forward in the future as well. I can showcase some games from those and some of my perspectives and commentary and stuff. But let me know what you thought, if this was too wordy, if I talked too much. Any feedback and all is, you know, very helpful, and I'll try to improve for next time. Next one will be Coleman versus myself, which should be a very interesting matchup. Obviously Coleman being one of the better, if not one of the best Gwent players at the moment. Definitely boasts some very high ladder scores and tournament appearances. But that being said, thanks very much for watching, guys. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.